Well, welcome to another episode of SKST Radio, and you tuned into Entertainment News with Kami Grayson. And today I have a good friend with me, Dr. Ron Smith. Welcome to the Entertainment Show.
Oh, yes. I've been looking forward to chopping up with you a little
All
bit.
right. Well, I'm loving it. Absolutely love it. Okay, so guys, y'all know I normally, since this is radio, I can read and talk about all the cool stuff that's going on since I'm usually by myself. But since I have Dr. Ron, and we got so much stuff in the tabloids, and he follows this stuff, so I am going to be nosy, and I'm going to ask all these questions because y'all want to know and y'all want to hear this, right? Okay, so we're going to jump right into it, Dr. Ron Smith. First of all, how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic, doing great. One of the subjects I really want to get into, this is the 50th year of hip hop. And
yes.
I was I think I was a junior in high school, and I had some fellow students from New York who brought the hip hop to Alabama State University in Montgomery, which is a historic HBCU. And from that point on, I've been, dipping and dabbing in hip hop. My first hip hop concert was Curtis Blow.
Okay, Curtis Blow. Yeah.
So he had the Christmas rapping, and these are the breaks. These are
the breaks. Yeah.
So of course I'm dating myself, but that was my first introduction to hip hop.
Okay.
And of course my adult children grew up in the hip hop era, so in order to relate to them, you have to understand what was going on.
Yeah, exactly.
I got pros and cons with hip hop. The pros is understand basically they took nothing and made it something, which means the government decided to take the music programs out of school, but that didn't stop kids from being creative.
Exactly.
So that's the pros. The cons is basically how things have deteriorated with the language and some of the clothes.
Some of the clothes. Lord, one piece of stitch of clothing that's not on the body that I wish would be on the body is still going on. Sagging. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's
butt cracks.
That's my con with them as far as and the way our young lady dresses.
Yeah.
And it's become acceptable attire. I grew up in the era where if it wasn't for sale, why advertise it? But now, almost anything goes. So that's my pros and cons with hip hop.
Okay.
And the language.
In the language, yeah. Because that's not acceptable. I mean, they are really into calling women out of their names, and women are accepting it. And that really lowers the standards.
When a woman called each other their friend B's and H's, to me, that's when it really went to a low for me, because when you don't have a standard for yourself, it's different for me calling you one.
Right.
But when you identify yourself as one, that's total. To me, that's a double negative.
Yeah. I've had somebody to say that to me before, and I corrected them, and we're not friends anymore. But, at the end of the day, I'm standing up for what I believe in, and I would never call you that. So why do you think it's cool to call me that?
I remember Queen Latifah, one of her raps on UNITY, and she addressed that. Who you calling a B? And now it's like common language, and I don't want to appear that I'm one of the old men that said get off my lawn type guy. But those are the pros and cons that I have, is that you have a genre of music that is universal now. I mean, it's worldwide. And I give you a little tidbit. When I was working in Afghanistan, and since I didn't rap, I had an Afghani told me that I wasn't black.
Oh.
Because basically what his image of a black person came from the videos.
Right.
So one of the things that we have to guard, because we have to understand words are very powerful. I could get scripture with you that, death and life is in the power of the tongue. Right. So basically you even have to, be careful how we even talk to ourselves. So that's my,
Yeah. Well, it makes a lot of sense, though. I mean, because you can convince yourself quicker than anybody else that you're not a good person or you're this. And I mean, it's just that self-healing thing. You have to learn how to pull yourself up. You have to learn how to be positive with yourself. So you're right. You're absolutely right. And so our kids and our young people hearing the same stature of music over and over and over again, that's what pretty much made it the way it is right now. So it's okay to call a female that word, and it's okay. It's not, but I'm saying that's what they do. But we also have kids going around driving and just killing somebody for no reason. So this is the times that we're in. So the times that we're in. So, and speaking of times that we're in, so the subject matter today is it's a lot of tabloids going on right now.
Yes, and it's so unfortunate, and I'm going to jump in the deep end of the pool.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to talk about Sean Puffy Combs or P. Diddy or Diddy or all the other pseudonyms that he called himself. Is that it was one of the pros to see a young black man that went to a HBCU, Howard University, to actually went into the music industry that was so locked down and guarded, and kind of like broke the chains off it, started his own record label, and was able to influence others to be multimillionaires along with himself. One of the things that we have to be careful of is that when we admire and I can't think of the producer name right now. Clive Davis.
Yes.
When we admire people like that, we have to segment it into what he has done correctly and what he's not doing. And a reason I mention that is that sometimes we think part of the success is some of the negative things that he has contribute to the music industry. Because it is common knowledge, because he wrote in his book that he's bisexual. So, some of these after parties and all this other stuff, I feel there was influence rap music because they think this is what you do when you become successful. Now, that's just my 2 cents, just some of the stuff that I've read.
Yeah. But, okay, so I'm not really into that type of stuff, and recently I just started seeing, and it's kind of like when people tell you this stuff, you'd be like, please, that's just tabloids. Please, I don't know. He's not that type of person. No, he's successful. People just want to bring him down because he is successful. I was that person on a soapbox, and but now I question a lot of things that I'm seeing in the tabloids. So let's dive right into it. Okay, so let's go back to Jamie Foxx. Okay, so a few months ago, Jamie Foxx was fighting for his life.
Right.
And they never said exactly what was going on with Jamie. They never said any of that. All we knew was we need to pray for Jamie because he's pretty much about to check out. Right. So we don't know if he was poisoned. We don't know if he was beat up. We don't know any of that because none of it really came out, right? And
he hasn't really came out and addressed it. Several media outlets have tried to ask him that question, but of course he does a matrix around that question.
And he's good at it because he was one of those people that was a whistleblower. And so I want to say one of the things videos that I saw, he was talking about the parties, the Diddy parties, and how he got hooked into it, and how he was like, Diddy, let me film the camera, let me, and so he sort of rocked the boat a little bit. He exposed those parties. And so it might be way more than that, but I do know that you don't really hear about those parties. Those parties is a hush hush. It's one of those things. What's done in Vegas, stay in Vegas. And now people are letting Vegas, in whatever state they in, Vegas is there now. So I feel like if all this stuff is true, not saying that it's true, because I'm just going by what I hear. Not that Kami's saying any of this is true. I'm just going by what's in the tabloids, okay? So don't try to quote me and say that I see it because I didn't. I'm repeating what I heard. But at the end of the day, Jamie had a guy that was interpreting his body language and things, and at the end of that, every time it came to that subject, Jamie's eyebrows would go up, you know. And so when he was honest and dead on, body language, he knew what he was talking about. He was this and he was that. But when you ask him something, he would evade the question and his eyebrows would go up. And so the guy pointed that out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just like a lie detector test. Is he avoiding this because he don't want to get back into the situation he was in? Is he safe now? And that's my biggest concern. Is he safe now?
Well, here's the thing. I've heard about some of the parties and from reliable sources. And the thing about it is that when you're in that lifestyle, you have access to certain things. Mm-hmm. And if you partake of those certain things, then people think you're about that life. One of the best quotes that I have heard came from Denzel Washington.
Okay. I love it.
And he said that basically because, part of your contract is that you have to attend certain parties and make certain appearances. Mm-hmm. And his advice is you have to leave 30 minutes before the devil show up.
Wow. So do you still get counted as being there if you leave before the devil show up?
Well, and that's the thing about when you take pictures with people.
So you got proof that I was there.
So a lot of people, and I'm not going to call any names, are tied up because certain fucking. If I'm doing a movie or a book tour, I'm invited to certain things, mm-hmm. and just by taking pictures with certain people assume that I'm doing the same thing this person doing.
Right.
They don't realize that basically, I left, way before, things got where they got.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that young people cannot be naive to what's going on. Right. I wouldn't say it's a common thing, but people kind of can control you. Mm-hmm. If they understand what your appetites are.
Right.
So basically, they'll dangle things in front of you just to see if you're going to do it or partake of it.
Right.
Then they know basically they can control you with that.
Yeah.
Or basically, they have, I wouldn't say extortion or blackmail goes on. Not me. I wouldn't say that. I clutch my pearls not to say that. But then again, there are a lot of people in the industry claim they're, different, negative forces, mm-hmm. As when you see artists, we are aware of gang signs, mm-hmm. but they say there are other signs that people throw up in pictures and stuff that they are affiliated with certain groups. And I'm not going to even get into what they call themselves, but a lot of that stuff that happens.
Wow. So now that that's been said, I mean, again, Usher pointed some stuff out, it's just amazing to me because you had all these young people. Now, mostly it's the African-American community, but it's not just the African-American community because I do know for a fact that Diddy used to date J-Lo. I know for a fact that Justin Bieber was connected with Usher, who was connected with Diddy. And so I do know that Justin Bieber had that mentorship, air quotes. And so it's sad now in the African-American community. I just feel like now that God has blessed our people with money, financial wealth, and things like that, now we don't know how to handle it. Now we're doing all kinds of things. We prayed for this and we wanted this, but now look how we're abusing it. And I think that's the word I want to use. They're abusing it, and I'm sure the same thing is going on in the other community. I can't believe that it's just the African Americans. So why don't we hear about their parties? Why don't we And I'm sure some of the same people that's involved, like Clyde, that got this going, and they introduced it to this community, and now this community just took it and went extra.
Well, I'm going to say a couple of things that probably get me in trouble.
Okay.
It's almost like guys who straight sell drugs in our community. Those are the ones you see.
Mm-hmm.
The people you don't see is how that drug got into the community.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we have to be, and more circumspect of who we admire,
Mm-hmm.
because when we admire somebody, or I don't even like the term idolize somebody, then we pick up all the traits, not only the good traits of
but the bad as well.
And to me, that's what happened. And one of the things that I think that when we admire a person to being a multimillionaire, et cetera, very successful, winning Grammys, Oscars, et cetera, what did it take that person to achieve that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, sometimes,
you got to pay the piper.
Sometimes, as they say, you got to risk it all to do that. And personally, I didn't feel it was worth it. I had aspiration of being a model and being an actor. And I saw some things, even as when I was on just doing stage plays and stuff like that, that I said, I don't think this lifestyle is for me.
For you. Yeah, well, I remember when I was modeling, and I remember my grandmother was I guess she was my manager, I guess, because she was with me everywhere I went. But I remember the photographer was an Olin Mills photographer. I don't know if you remember Olin Mills. I'm dating myself.
Yes.
However, I was doing a photo shoot for Olin Mills, just to get the show that African Americans,
right.
This is what they do. So, I don't know where that picture is, but I used to have this huge picture. It might be in the storage, but I used to have this huge picture of me where I used to wear these long braids before it was popular. Now it's real popular, but back in those days it wasn't.
Right.
And I would wear my hair in the front, and I had these long braids, and I was little then, And the guy kept pulling at my tank top. I had this fox fur coat, and the guy kept pulling at my tank top. And I remember my grandmother pulling it back up, and he pulled it back down, and she pulled it back up. And he looked at her and said, "You signed a contract." And after that, we did the photo shoot. I got my copy of the picture like I was promised. And when you see it, it's provocative. And at the time, when I was young, I'm all sexy and cute, da 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 da. But as an adult, I took the picture down because I didn't want my kids seeing it. You see what I'm saying? So, and it's one of those pictures that I probably would never put back up because it was beautiful. It was me in my 20s, early 20s, and that's the life. If my grandmother hadn't been there, that probably would have been the road that I would have been taking.
Well, it's kind of coincidental that you mentioned that, because I was reading this article about Brooke Shields, and she said she was sexualized as a young person, and the things that she did to be successful, she wouldn't allow her daughter to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And right now, Nickelodeon is going through some really maybe some legal stuff going on coming in the future from reading some articles about the kids that they, one of the shows they were doing. And that's very important. I call it adult supervision, because when you are in the moment, sometimes they get you in the moment, they talk to you, they even might serve some wine on the set and try to get you, to relax and that sort of thing. And we have to realize that if we don't have a plan, a person they have a plan for you, which means that they have ulterior motive. And I think Vanessa Williams' anniversary, or the first Black female to be Miss America, has came up. And matter of fact, they just did a piece on Essence about her journey and how
her crown was taken from her and all that. Yeah, I remember that.
And how she had to fight through all that and still be successful, which means she had to overcome a whole lot because some of the pictures that was taken, she didn't agree that they should have been exposed. But the guy, just like you said, you sign a contract, which means that you give up your rights to all that. So, you can't censor that once they, even
once it's done, it's done.
And we got to be careful and signing NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, because that is another tool for control.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just getting back to, I guess the hip hop and, what, Sean Combs is going through. It's one of those things that after 30 years of being one of the main influences of this, that it would end like this.
Right.
It's unfortunate that even though, when he settled with Cassie, after one day that she threatened him with a lawsuit, I kind of was waiting for the next shoe to drop.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, his two sons was arrested this week. I know.
And so, that's the big thing, though. That's the big thing. So now, his home was raided, and did they find anything, or what were they really looking for? I mean, what if you don't keep paperwork on molesting and sex trafficking and all that other
now
stuff?
All these are allegations, so we're not.
But I'm saying, what if you don't keep records of these things?
What my point is, we got to make sure that our listeners know that all these are allegations, and
it's alleged,
and basically he is innocent until he's proven guilty, and we want to make sure we put that out there. But the allegation is basically sex trafficking. Okay. There have been a couple of victims that said they were minors when they were, in his studios or in his homes and different things. So, and basically part of the investigation is any electronic media that they had at their disposal, they would be, investigated and reviewed and see if there are any circumstantial or hard evidence regarding these allegations.
I'm sure Sean's smart enough to know not to keep that stuff laying around.
Well, but the thing about it, this young lady, he said that he didn't know. She showed a picture of him, them in close proximity. So it's not only the things that they find, it's things that they collaborate.
Well, at the end of the day, they didn't find anything. Is that correct?
That's no, because the investigation is continuing. You won't hear anything until if there a indictment and charges, etc.
Okay, so because of who you are and where you come from and your background and all this, what are the odds that this man is innocent and if he will be able to get away with what he's done?
Oh, this is my personal opinion.
This is your personal opinion.
0 to none.
0 to none. Okay. And why do you say that?
Because just what Cassie's charges was, and allegedly there's a book that's out that Kim Porter was writing.
Okay.
So there's a lot of stuff that's will be forthcoming. All his travel logs, all the studio footage, all that stuff will be, investigated and, fleshed out and see, what the dots are connected.
Looks like we're going to have a part 2 of this because at the end of the day, right now we're in the early development stages of what might be going on, what's allegedly going on.
Unfortunately, this is just a quote that I heard another rapper said that basically R. Kelly would make P. Diddy look like a choir boy.
Whoa.
Yeah, they say when all this stuff rolls out, and that's so unfortunate. And my empathy is for the men and women who are caught up in this dragnet, because one of the things that you can't escape is your past.
Right.
And some of your past you wanted to stay there.
Right.
What this investigation is going to do is
pull it all up.
It's going to pull it all up.
Yeah.
So all the things that I know this is not on the subject, but Freaknik is another documentary that came out, I think, last week about, they were saying that the party that never was televised or something.
Another Vegas thing.
Well, a lot of things that you do as a youth, you think is fun and cool, but when it get digitized and being revealed again, you got judges, prominent business people, and
right.
community leaders.
What you actually turned out to be, doing all that crap.
So, but now, you G-mom now. You still want to be cool, but you grandma now. But at the same time, your grandkids looking to give you the side eye.
Take that picture down.
You're telling me to pull my pants up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where do you think I got that from? Huh? Yeah.
So but it's the people are really, sexual assault is so damaging on so many levels, and I don't want to brush over that. And when a person said that they have been sexual assault, we should make sure we give them the space that they need and give them the empathy they need too, because that's very, very difficult to even admit that something so precious to you that was taken from you.
Well, and even being a young person, I'm thinking of Justin Bieber now, being a young person and not really knowing all this, this world, that you knew. And for this to happen, and that's a scar. It's a scar that's never going to heal. You will, what do they say? You'll forgive, but you don't forget. With that, you'll never forget. And I don't know, as an adult, I don't even know if you can ever be fully healed. You stuff can, like that happen to you.
You can, with the grace of God and some spiritual guidance, because you got to realize that somebody not only attacked you physically, they attack your spiritual nature. And you mentioned something earlier, and I want to comment. Britney Spears is another person that jumps out to my mind that needs some guidance and help. And I think basically she might have went through some similar things that the allegation of, Sean Combs have groomed other people to do. I think she probably falls into that same category. We see people acting out, and those are just symptoms.
Right.
And sometimes we don't take the time to look back and see what the actual real cause are.
Right. Well, and then think about the Cosby Show.
Yes.
With Lisa Bonet. She never came back. She never, she was just done. Pretty much, she was just done from what I've read and seen on the videos and things online. But she never said anything bad. He just, he wanted to be her father figure, and she couldn't date and be with nobody. Pretty much. So it's like, okay, if you date this guy or you marry this guy, I think it was a situation, then you're out. I think it was Lenny that she was getting ready to marry. And so, and she did it, and he got rid of her. He canned her from the show. And so, it's hard for you to try to lead your professional life in this world of entertainment, and then you have dictators.
Well, the whole thing is about control, and that's the reason why you need people, a close circle of people that actually love you for you and not what you can bring and produce. And unfortunately, we even have parents who mess up their children's conservatorship, or So matter of fact, I'm gonna do a show about that next week.
Okay.
About conservatives. But so now you're in a state of who's watching the watcher.
Yeah.
You mentioned Usher. Usher had to fire his momager.
His momager. Yeah, well,
So
a lot of people have to do it.
And speaking of that, even Katherine Jackson, some of Michael's children are in the disagreement of the estate.
The estate, yes, I saw that.
So it's when I know this might be a sidebar, and that's the reason why I do my show around money, because it's so important that if you don't get your money right, then basically your whole life will be in a flux.
Right.
Which means that all the money, Michael Jackson has made more money since he has passed than he be before. You would think there would be enough slices of the pie to go around.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm saying. It's just that, but when you don't know when is enough, or you think somebody getting a bigger slice than you, that you can't spend, Michael Jackson's great grandchildren would be very well invested. So those are the issues. So money is what attracts us to, everybody
money is the root to all evil.
No. The love of money.
The love of money. Okay.
The love of money is the root
to all evil.
So you got kids in all in the neighborhood that looked up to Sean Combs, that looked up to these successful rappers, and some of them will be willing to, even 50 Cent said, "Get rich or die trying." So what else? If you were willing to die for it, you willing to do a lot of other things for it too. Right. And unfortunately, that's part of the,
and 50 is on that soapbox too. 50's on the same Sean soapbox. So he's one of the people that's make it, whistleblowing, making noise, I should say.
Yeah.
So, but okay, well, you know what? We're going to conclude this edition of the Kami Grayson Entertainment Show. I'm very excited. Dr. Ron, thank you for highlighting and clearing up a lot of this fuzziness that's going on in the tabloids right now. But we will have some more tabloids and bring it to you next week right here on SKST Radio. And I love it because radio is radio. And so you have to do what you have to do.
And, I wasn't those guys who wanted to be a DJ.
Did you really?
Like
DJ T Nice.
Well, I didn't know T Nice at the time, but okay. Tom Joyner and Frankie Crocker and a few other old guys was guys that I looked up to.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, they're not really DJs. Are they? They don't play music.
Well, I mean, they have a show, so.
Well, they had a show, yeah, but they weren't real DJs.
Well, it's kind of elevated that basically they had other people on the ones and twos.
Okay. Oh, don't forget to put that song in right there. Yeah, okay. You're so funny.
And everybody, they went through the programming part of that.
Okay.
You remember,
okay.
you remember the radio.
I remember what do you call them? Those they were like CDs, but they were big, and they used to push them in the thing, and they push the buttons and all that stuff. It was clunky. It really was clunky.
Yeah, but that was technology.
Well, yeah, it was good. I mean, I was amazed. Woo, shiny. I was amazed. But now it's all this. It's just condensed
on a MacBook.
Really? Yeah. I mean, that's the way it is now.
And a couple of speakers.
Here you go. And you remember, I remember jam boxes. Used to have a big old jam box, just listening to the music, roller skating, falling down with breaking your jam box. Those were the days.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the days. Okay, we're going to end this show. I had fun.
It was real. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. And so I want to thank DJ T Nice for jumping on. How are you doing? I hope things are good in your world. But until next week, guys, SKST Radio Entertainment News with Kami Grayson.